Hello, everybody, and welcome to Driving Real Value and Impact with Digital Transformation in the Real World. I'm Justin Hester, Senior Director for Digital Transformation Solutions here at PTC, and really looking forward to hopefully providing you with some valuable information. Hopefully, it's information that you can take back to your organizations and drive some successful change. And so, real quick, of course, I have to introduce myself and PTC. PTC is a company that is focused around helping industrial organizations like yours digitally transform. We have over a 30-year background of working with industrial companies, starting in CAD, moving into PLM, then into IoT, AR, which is augmented reality, and now the really exciting world of spatial, and really bringing all those solutions to bear for our customers to help them truly deliver on the potential of a digital transformation. And so a global company of over 6,000 individuals who wake up every day thinking, how can we help our customers solve their challenges? And really to frame up today, right? The idea is we know about buzzwords and we know the digital transformation is here, but what's driving that? And you know what, this is probably not a surprise for most of you, but just to really level set, we have a worker shortage. Even today, there is a growing skills gap seen around the world, especially in industrial companies, where we're seeing a generational shift in the workforce. And so we have challenges filling those gaps in the industrial space. Look, risk and cost pressure, I don't think this was new pre-COVID. It's continuing through COVID. And if we're honest, it's going to be with us after COVID. The world is just a different place. And we as organizations and industrial companies have to be able to flexibly respond to the challenges of the world. And finally, digital disruption. Things aren't what they were. I love this stat about the S&P 500 and how over the next 10 years, over half of those companies in the S&P 500 will churn out, which is amazing when you take into account that the S&P 500 is the 500 largest companies, and you're supposed to be able to reliably count on those companies to be around in the future. But if we really look at digital transformation, I think where a lot of us get hung up is this idea of trying to become a digital company. And at PTC and HPE, what we would say is actually that's not the goal. The goal for you is to become who you are, an industrial company that is capitalizing on digital technologies, digital solutions like those from PTC, HPE, and Intel to really change the way your company operates, to grow that competitive advantage, and to ride the wave of disruption, not be disrupted. And when we take that into account, it's this idea of, yeah, you can't fly the digital airplane. You have to make the airplane. That's what you do best, but how do you use the technologies for it? And when we talk about a digital transformation, I think it has this kind of buzzword feel like, yeah, we know we got to do a digital transformation, but why? The reality is that we're working with customers today who are actually driving real significant value. And how are they doing that? Well, you know, they're moving the needle significantly on things like reducing mean time to repair, reducing number of service calls. They're lowering their scraps and reworks. They're improving safety, reducing unscheduled downtime. These things are great things, but why do we care about these? Because if we execute against these with a digital transformation, what we end up doing is driving shareholder value, because everything we do in a digital transformation needs to be focused around these three ideas. Does it help drive revenue growth? Does it improve your operating margin? Or does it improve your asset efficiency? And so the first little bit of advice I would give, and what we've seen from working successfully with customers on their transformation, is that if your efforts aren't directly working against one of those three things, you should probably reconsider your efforts, because at the end of the day, we need to drive shareholder value at your organization. And so how do we do that? How do we execute? Well, our best practices show three main things to keep in mind. Drive impact, drive it with high velocity, and drive it to scale. What do we mean by that? Everything you do, like we said before, needs to drive towards shareholder value. You need to drive significant impact that dramatically changes the financials of your organization. And that's what gains you the support across your organization to go big. Second, you need to move with speed. Look, time kills transformations. If you want to drive that large impact to get the attention of stakeholders inside the organization and truly transform your organization, you can't wait. You've got to go fast. And when you go fast, you have to go fast and deliver that impact as you go. You can't move fast to nowhere. You have to move fast to delivering value to the organization. And finally, scale, right? We can't do and sit in a pilot world, a world where honestly we're saying, hey, we're going to work in this small little area. We're going to see if we can drive some change with the digital transformation. No, we would suggest that in actuality, what you need to do is drive large impact across an organization. Don't work on a tiny little pilot. Work on an entire production line. Don't work on one small service team. Work on a region first, right? Really look to drive the scale and to drive it quickly. And by driving that at scale, you'll get the impact. Why do we say impact, speed, and scale? It's to avoid pilot purgatory. We've all been there. For those who don't know, purgatory is an idea that is most commonly associated with the Catholic religion, where it says when you die, you don't go to heaven, the good place, or hell, the bad place. You're in purgatory, in between. And most of us have been on one of these pilot purgatory projects where we're doing a digital transformation, but we find that it gets stuck. It's funded, but it doesn't increase funding. It's got some people working on it, but it doesn't increase the team size. It has a small remit, but it never grows the remit. And that's that pilot purgatory. And we really believe to get out of that, you need to focus on driving that shareholder value quickly, drive that impact, move fast, and do it at scale. And you say, great, I get it, but how do I do it? Well, one of the things is industrial companies and manufacturers, you've invested a lot into your existing systems. And what PTC and HPE and Intel would suggest is don't rip and replace that investment that you have. Instead, work on wrapping and extending around that investment. And you could do that with amazing solutions like HPE's Edge solutions, where you're relying on the infrastructure that you have inside your factory lines, but now you can bring that data from the edge up into your data infrastructure and your IT infrastructures. And when you wrap and extend, the beauty of that strategy is now you're really maximizing those investments. Those investments you've already made on your factory floors in your service teams around the world, now you're maximizing that and driving it to its true potential. And so when we do that, we say, well, okay, we need to focus on solutions that drive those P&Ls, drive the shareholder value. And so we would suggest that 4 places you could start inside your industrial company, your factory, is thinking about enterprise operational intelligence, right? Understanding what's truly going on inside the factory. Think of it this way. It's about getting the right information to the right person at the right time so that they can maximize their decision-making ability. We've all had meetings every start of shift inside a factory. One of the things I would argue is the challenge with that is you're having a meeting to talk about what went wrong yesterday and what you're going to do today to make up for what went wrong yesterday. And instead, we would say, bring all that data that's coming from across your floor into one pane of glass to give you a real-time view of what's going on so that you can take care of the problems today instead of tomorrow. Secondly, think about digital workforce productivity. This is where things like augmented reality come into play. We always talk about people are the most important asset of our organizations. Well, great, let's digitally transform that and let's double down on that investment. And so digital workforce productivity is all about sharing knowledge as you have that workforce challenge. How do you capture in situation the actual knowledge of your experienced individuals and pass that on at scale globally across your entire organization? Augmented reality can help you with that. Scalable production management. This is all about the idea of how do you double down on your investments in your current business systems and then combine that with the data coming off of your plant floor and bring together one single view where you can understand the implications of every decision that's made on the production floor and how that affects downstream and upstream decisions. Finally, intelligent asset optimization. All of our factories, every investment we have is important, but let's be honest, inside the factory, if I were to ask you, name those 5 assets that are most important, you can rattle them off right now. Those 5 assets that are either bottlenecks, a problem child, or maybe they're just critical to the process itself. Well, every moment that those are working for us, not against us, is a moment more that we have to drive value for the organization. And so applying things like uh, AI and analytics to do predictive maintenance, right? To do predictive scheduling, and really making that asset work for us 100% of the time and not part of the time. That's what we would suggest with intelligent asset optimization. And so we believe that working in those 4 areas in a factory will, as well as taking into account wrap and extend, is going to help you drive that P&L and really help you to drive impact and get that speed and scale you need. So hopefully that was helpful when I shared some of the things that we would suggest you do, and of course we believe that as partners, PTC and HPE can help you to deliver on that, both with our world-class IT solutions, infrastructure solutions, and also solutions from PTC like ThingWorx, our IoT platform, Vuforia augmented reality platform. But let's actually look at some organizations that are doing this today. One of them is Pactiv. Pactiv is an organization that we've worked together, both HPE and PTC, to really drive significant improvement on their throughput. And we'll talk about that here a little more in a second. Second is Techsmart. Techsmart is one of my favorite customers. I've had the opportunity to speak with their leadership multiple times now. But what an amazing story of being able to completely revolutionize the way the organization works and handles maintenance. And we'll talk about how that has driven other opportunities throughout their organization. And finally, a leading tools manufacturer that both of us are working with, one of what I would say is the tool manufacturer around the world, and really working with them to get that scale, right? That over 100 factories driving towards digital transformation together. Well, let's start with Pactiv, right? And what a great picture over there to help you understand some of the things that Pactiv works on. If you've held a disposable coffee cup, disposable coffee lid, any other types of packaging, you have most likely encountered a Pactiv product. Pactiv truly touches each one of us around the world on a daily basis with their products. And so as they're working through that, they really want to not only make high quality at a high speed, they want to be environmentally conscious, and they also want to make sure their products are ethically manufactured. And so how do you do that? Well, one of the ways they do that is they say, hey, day by day, every day we wake up, we want to have a better manufacturing operation than we did the day before. And so how did PTC and HPE work with Pactiv? Well, when we started thinking about speed, scale, impact, we said one of the things we can do is proactive monitoring, right? Let's proactively monitor your assets so we're not responding to downtime, but instead we're actually preventing poor products being created. Because often in a factory, as we know, one of the number one ways we know that a machine isn't working correctly is that products have made it all the way through the work stream, and last check comes along and they fail quality. Well, how much have we built up in the line? And instead, we've worked with them with analytics and data monitoring to address issues before they ever become a problem. So we're never having to clean out the lines and find it at the last minute. And working on that, we've helped Pactiv reduce their quality defects by 50%. Look, 50% improvement on quality, I don't know any manufacturing company who would say no to that. Finally, streamlining their operations and faster time to insight. This is really that idea of where we said, hey, how do we get people the right information at the right time, which is coming from the data that's already streaming from the machines. In factories, our machines are already giving data. We don't have a data problem inside factories. We have a listening problem. We're not collecting and using that data that our machines are giving to us. And by applying those that ability for their operators and their management, their leaders to all be able to gain access to this information, they've been able to have faster actions to downtime. So if there is a downtime incident, they're able to get to it quicker, resolve the issue faster, understand what's going on, and that's helped them over double their production capacity. Again, what an amazing thing to be able to say that you've doubled your production capacity without having to build more facilities. This is truly about driving that impact. Techsmart, like I said, one of my favorite customers to talk about. Really cool organization. They are a refinery and chemical organization. But here's what's cool about this story. When they talk about utilizing safety solutions, new safety solutions through a digital transformation, connecting up their workers so that their location-based, context-aware information is provided to them, and also applying advanced analytics so they do predictive maintenance, which led to a 50% reduction in downtime. You say, great, I've thought about these, I've heard about that before. If I use predictive analytics, I can reduce my downtime. But here's what I think is great. Techsmart said, but how do we drive the P&L with that? And they said, the way we do that is if we're getting that time back because our assets aren't down, why don't we start looking into other chemicals and other processes we can do? Because now we're taking the investment we already have. We have the machines, the processes, the abilities. We have the know-how. We just need more time. And if we had more time, we could make new chemicals, new products. And if we made new chemicals, new products, we could significantly increase top line and bottom line because now we're entering completely new markets, completely new areas to go after market share. And so they've been able to open up new business lines and income sources. Why? Because they concentrated on a challenge they had, which was downtime. They went after to drive that impact. They scaled out across their organization and they moved quickly. And so I love that idea of always thinking, how do I drive the P&L? By using analytics, I can reduce downtime. Great. But what am I going to do with that time? I'm now going to go into new business markets. Absolutely love that. And finally, a major tool manufacturer that we've been jointly working with, they've said, we understand we need to digitally transform. We've actually identified impactful use cases, over 20 of them together. We've said, hey, we can, we know how to we know what we need to do to optimize. We want to do predictive maintenance with analytics and IoT platforms such as ThingWorks. We want to optimize our inventory. But they said, the only way we're going to drive true change is if we move fast. We get that scale. And so talk about scale here. After a successful POV, which we love saying POV instead of POC, POC is a proof of concept. We would suggest don't prove the concept, prove the value, a proof of value. And so after they had a successful proof of value and then moved quickly to expansion, they now have a plan to roll out to over 100 factories worldwide. Why is this important? Because imagine the scale and the impact if you have that scale of 100 factories. If you say, we're going to increase productivity by 10 to 25% across 100 factories. Predictive maintenance reducing costs by 10 to 40%, depending on the facility, reducing downtime by up to 50%, and utilizing IoT analytics and data collection solutions, they're able to then drive reduction in capital investments because they don't have the challenges of the downtime. They've increased their productivity. And then by optimizing their inventory, they're able to reduce 20 to 50% of their carrying costs. Those are great numbers. But what's amazing numbers is that applied across 100 factories. And so by focusing on scale, this major tool manufacturer is really driving a complete change in digital transformation. So we didn't have a lot of time today, and I do apologize. It's been quick, but hopefully we provided you with some inspiration and quick ideas you can take back to push your digital transformation. I'll leave you with this. What should your next steps be? Well, we would recommend, number one, focus on the impact. Your partners at PTC and HPE and Intel would love to work with you to understand what the potential impact of a digital transformation would look like inside your organization. But once you figure out the impact, calculate the value. Take it down and understand what is the financial impact of what we're doing here. And by doing that, you're able to get buy-in across the organization. plot out a journey. And that journey, there is no easy button for digital transformation. We have to plot out a journey that's realistic, that drives value across the organization, and helps us understand how we scale this out quickly. And as you prove that value and scale quickly, don't be afraid to do a feedback and refine loop. You're going to learn lessons. In any transformation, we learn lessons. And anything that we do to transform an organization is going to drive necessarily some challenges, some learnings, and opportunities even to drive even more impact and value across your organization. Please feel free to reach out. Would love to have a conversation with you if you have any questions on today's presentation, or you'd like to understand how PTC, HPE, or Intel can support you in your digital transformation efforts. You should see right here different ways to get a hold of us, and myself personally would love to have a conversation with you. Thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Hope you found today useful and you found this event useful, and feel free to reach out. We'd love to have a conversation with you. Have a great day.